What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the biggest things fans want in Hogwarts Legacy. Now, a few weeks ago, we talked about things that you guys don't want in the game. The reception was phenomenal. I really want to thank all of you for watching that video, for submitting your own, comments in the comment section. You guys absolutely rock, and I will be making this a series. Now, for this video, I want to do the opposite. Last time, we talked about what you guys don't want. This time, I want to talk about what you guys do want. Now, again, to be featured in this, simply leave a comment. Leave a comment. You can talk about things you do want in the game, you don't want in the game. I'll do like part 2s for these in the future weeks, so you guys will have your questions and just, I guess, things read out loud, your comments read out loud. So write them in the comments, and we will go from there, okay? Again, thank you to all of you guys for doing this. I want to start with this one. It's not necessarily what they want, although it's somewhat close, but I thought it would be a pretty good talking point. J Park S says, I really wonder if this game will live up to the expectations, because we deserve a game that gives us the full experience, and it seems like this is going to be a great one. Hope it doesn't fall short in too many aspects, so go all in. So, I guess summarizing it, fans want this to hit the expectations that we're setting. Now, I know that's a touchy subject for people. It's something we have addressed before on this channel, and I know it's a thing that goes, like, I've checked the Reddit of Hogwarts Legacy, which I don't do almost at all. I don't know if anybody over there likes me, but, you have people basically saying, maybe we've gotten people too hyped up. And I've talked about that. Are expectations too high for Hogwarts Legacy? Here's the thing, though. We're the ones who buy the game. So I'm not saying we set the most unrealistic expectations possible, and then when they don't hit them, we, like, flip out, throw chairs, I guess jump through, like, tables like the Buffalo Bills fans do, which I am one. I'm not saying we do that, okay? But what I am saying is I don't think it's wrong to expect good things from a game. I don't think it's wrong to ask for dueling, to ask for Quidditch, to ask for house points, to these are things, to ask for friends and romantic relationships. I mean, I get it. Expectations are tough, and really, you judge everything in your entire life based off of how you expect it to go, your expectations. So I get both sides to it, but I do not think it's wrong whatsoever to expect things out of the game. That's normal. We're the ones buying the game. If we didn't do that, none of this would be happening. So yes, it's a cop-out kind of answer, I would say, right? I'm saying from me, not this J Park. Like, just saying, like, hey, I want the game to hit the expectations we've laid out for it. That's a big ask. But ultimately, you gotta hit some things. That's like the biggest thing. Certified Boy Lover says, I hope they add a house point system which affects how your housemates treat you and how you interact with them based off of how many points you gain or lose them. This is phenomenal. One of my earliest videos that I've ever done on this game, which actually, I'll go back and look, and it's actually done really good views. People continue to watch it. I've talked about house points. I made an entire, so by the way, I do like making these videos as well, because it gives me an opportunity to kind of say, hey, we have talked about this before, or we haven't. I made an entire video just talking about how I think house points could work. But I love it. I mean, I think house points need to be a part of this game. In terms of, what it needs to have house points. Because I think, like this commenter says, or what kind of alludes to, I think you can do so much with them. You know what I mean? You can do a house cup at the end where, your points throughout the entire year actually add up to something. Which, by the way, I would say, well, here's actually it boiled down. If you have house points, there needs to be something tied in with house points. You look at the books. The books, I think house points have more meaning, than the movies. The movies, they kind of just forget about them after the first one. But, they can have an influence on, your house and how you interact. And I think for a game, specifically for a game where there's a lot of subsystems and just all this stuff going on, it's very easy to connect it. It could be, if you get certain amount of house points, maybe you get ability points, right? Or we've talked about that, like leveling up or unlocking spells or unlocking potions, right? Or, anything like that. Those could be tied to how, and not directly, it's the only way. The only way you unlock this spell is if you hit a certain amount of house points. I don't want that, but some sort of linking, some sort of interaction. And I think that's a very easy way to blend a gameplay mechanic and just things that every game, has an element of, but also make it like accurate, historically accurate. You know what I mean? Like it's smart. And then like this person said, right, having it even tied to how people treat you. I like that idea. If your house sucks, if you are the reason that your house is losing points, maybe you can't do certain dialogue options with people, right? Almost like a Mass Effect thing where they lock you out. Like if you're too good, you can't even do the bad stuff because like you're not bad enough for it to actually fly. And same thing the other way around. You could do that. I think that should kind of be a separate system, like just some sort of morality system, which, you know, many games do their own versions of. But if you tie it to house points, I think, again, that's a really, really nice idea. Again, something to just do, something to tie what games already do, or what you would maybe already expect Hogwarts Legacy to do, but then also adding in, like, you know, this lore element of house points. I think it's an awesome idea. Little Bad Wolf says, I certainly hope Quidditch will be optional if it's included. It's really not that fun for people with poor eyesight. And then also, mostly, I want there to be a wide variety of locations and the gameplay well balanced between them, instead of spending most of it at Hogwarts. I want to explore Hogsmeade, Ministry of Magic, Diagon Alley, Godric's Hollow, and so on, Wizarding Society locations in other countries too, and other places from the books, and truly open instead of most of the places being closed while we're there, and preferably done so that you can interact with stuff in those places instead of just looking around. The early Harry Potter games were so very limited, but seeing that it doesn't follow the canon story, they really should take advantage of the entire universe location-wise. Oh, and include a good variety of Fantastic Beasts too. So that's a packed comment, but I agree with, I would say, the majority of it. Now here's the deal. When, you know, I go back to the first thing I said in the entire video about expectations. One thing I think would be safe. Now, I'm not here to police your thoughts. I'm not here to tell you what to expect and what not to expect. In terms of expecting you to go to like 30 different locations, okay, and for them to all be very fleshed out, I would get that out of your head very quickly. And that is not picking on this guy whatsoever. Again, I understand wanting things. I don't think it's bad, but the game's called Hogwarts Legacy. Now, am I saying I don't want, like, Ministry of Magic or Diagon Alley? No, there are places you need to be able to go, okay? So, again, when we talk about what you guys seem to want, and I've seen this countless times in all of my videos, right? Exploration. Exploration, and here's the kicker, not just at Hogwarts. Now, I think that's fair. You could say on the reverse of things, it's like, well, guys, you get the entire Hogwarts school of witchcraft and wizardry to go around and look, and you want, you know, places outside of it. I think that's normal. I think that's, you know, because again, I actually think it's exactly what he says. Like, you don't have as many rules here as you maybe normally would. So you really can go out and again, like, it's a different game than we've gotten of pretty much any other past, you know, Wizarding World game, any of the movie tie-in games, stuff like that. Like, this is different. So, like, yeah, I want to see what they do with the Ministry of Magic. I want to see Diagon Alley. I want to see these shops and these locations that maybe we've seen before, maybe we've heard before, whatever, but I want to see them. At the same time, though, I would say, again, to counter it, I'm not expecting all of them. Really, me looking at it or going into it, I'm expecting Hogwarts. The Ministry of Magic is definitely possible, especially if you end going kind of that route, like maybe you grow up or whatever. I think the Ministry is very likely. Diagon Alley, I think, is really, really likely as well. I think that's, and then there's been other ones, like maybe we can go to Azkaban. We're going to be facing different enemy variations and stuff like that. So I do think we're going to get a variety of locations, and I think that's very, very important, but I don't think we're going to get like 1,000 of them. And then one quick thing on the Quidditch thing, which I kind of find cool too. I don't mind that idea at all. Now, I don't know about the poor eyes. Now, I have not the greatest eyesight either. I play like NHL, and it's a hit or miss. But no, honestly, I would say Quidditch, like any kind of mini game sport in any of these, or really any mini game in these games, they all really are optional, or they should be optional. So I actually do agree with that. I 1,000% want Quidditch in this game. I think if you polled people, the amount would be very high of who wants Quidditch, but I do agree with the idea of not forcing it. I don't think they would make it like a key part of the game. I just flat out don't think so. I think it would be like a side quest. Again, like my dream would be do a multiplayer mode of just Quidditch. So you load in, or even a multiplayer mode of dueling. We talked about that before this game was even announced, about dueling, Quidditch, etc. So Wizard's chess. So I love that idea. It's kind of my own idea, so maybe that's why I love it, because I have a big ego. But no, I agree with that. I think that's a fair assessment. I don't think we're going to be forced to play Quidditch. At this point, I just hope Quidditch is in it. And it's possible that it's not in it at all. And I'm going to end it with this one. This comes from Styx AU. I really want a good intro into the game. We know we will play as a 5th year, but I want to be able to go into Diagon Alley, go to Gringotts, go to Ollivander's. These are extra places we didn't talk about earlier, and get a quiz for my wand, buy the robes, and go on platform 9 3/4, get selected into a house. That would really make the game more unique. Completely agree. Completely agree. It's something that's tough because we've talked about it, but we've kind of like glossed over it. The beginning of the game. You know, a lot of the times when I talk about it, right, we talk about the sorting hat, and really it just goes to, do you do a quiz, or does the sorting hat pick for you, or is there a randomized thing? Is that an option? Because you could do that, but you don't have to. Do you put the sorting hat on, the screen goes blurry, and it says, okay, which house do you want to pick? And you just pick the house, and the sorting hat says that. Like, we've talked about that many times. But the interesting thing is, what if that's not the beginning of the game? And I guess reality-wise, it probably isn't the beginning of the game. Why would you start? You hit the start button, you pick your difficulty, or maybe it's only one difficulty, and you immediately start. You're sitting down, and the sorting hat's on. Like there's got to be a lead up. Why are you a 5th year? Why did it take so long? What happened? Where did your powers come from? You know what I mean? How'd you get to Hogwarts? Like, there's a lot of things that you're just skipping. And like, I'm saying this for me too, to be critical of myself. Like, we've skipped over talking about that stuff, mainly because it's really hard. We don't know how they're gonna do it. There's a lot of options, but like, you got to imagine they do something like that, right? And again, I love that idea. I mean, really, if you could do Harry Potter 1, the first movie, first book, if you could like make that the beginning of that, not like the entire movie, but the beginning of that, and you put that into the game as your beginning of the game, I think that'd be perfect. Explore a little, go down a couple alleyways, go into a couple different, locations. It's a good tutorial mission, by the way. If we're talking, much like any game, they have to teach you how to play. There's just no way around that. So it'd be a really good way of learning things. You'd be able to get your wand. So maybe there's some sort of conversation. Maybe there is a quiz. Maybe he tells you, okay, do this thing with your wand, and you have to practice. And there's your tutorial with casting spells. Perfect. You know what I mean? You actually knock out quite a couple things all in one go. So I love the idea. Again, even they say, like, buy robes. Like, we've talked about that. Fashion. Can you buy clothes? Can you buy accessories? Like, why not? Why not? And you could easily stick that in the beginning of the game and say, pick a wardrobe. Now, again, that could just be customization. You make your character, you pick the gender, whatever, and you can pick the clothes that they wear. Or you could, maybe you can do that, and then you can buy them separately. I mean, the options are unlimited, like going into Hogwarts for the first time, all that stuff. I know some people had said, too, like, well, maybe there's, like, dialogue things and decisions you make in the beginning of the game before you even get to the sorting hat. And it's kind of what I've said, where it's like you take a quiz. It's almost like that, but what if you're just dynamically going around, you have good options, you have bad options, you have options in between, and you don't even know it, but you're actually making the decisions that the game is registering, and then by the time you get to the sorting hat, you may have made 10 decisions in that opening hour, say, like buying your wand and you may have made decisions there, and then when you go to the sorting hat, the game's like, okay, you've made the decisions that line up with Gryffindor, so we're putting you in Gryffindor. So it's kind of randomized, but it's actually based off of what you've done so far in the game. Love it. Love it. So, again, you guys are awesome. You guys are very smart. You guys come up with things that I don't come up with. So, I'm really happy we're doing this series. Hopefully, you guys like it. You guys seem to really, really enjoy the last video I made, or 2 videos ago, I guess. So, let me know anything else you want to talk about, things you want, things you don't want, additional topics. We don't just have to do these 2. We can do other topics as well. Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on. All my social media is in the description if you guys want to follow me on Twitter, or I have a second YouTube channel. We also have Patreon and YouTube memberships. Really appreciate the support, guys. We'll be back next week with another video, and I hope to see you guys there.